All right, so let's dive right in to today's deep dive. We're talking all about getting you ready for a Footwear Assembly Supervisor interview.
Okay.
Picture yourself there
Yeah.
in the lasting room. You're basically the conductor, right? Making sure those shoes are assembled just right, hitting those quality targets, leading your team. Like you're the maestro of the shoemaking process.
That's a great way to put it. You really are the conductor, bringing all the different parts together to create a quality product.
Exactly. And you've sent us some sample interview questions, so we're going to tackle those head on today. We're going to be pulling in insights from the RoleCatcher Career Guide as well. And we'll even sprinkle in some tips on how RoleCatcher's AI can help you, like tailor your answers in practice, almost like you have your own coach. So get ready to put your best foot forward, literally.
That's right. We're going to give you the tools and the confidence to absolutely ace that interview.
Absolutely. So first, let's just paint a clear picture of what this role actually looks like.
Yeah.
So what does a Footwear Assembly Supervisor actually do, according to the RoleCatcher Career Guide?
Well, it emphasizes that a footwear assembly supervisor isn't just about overseeing the team in the lasting room.
Right.
It's about making sure the whole production chain is flowing smoothly.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you're coordinating. You're making sure that the lasting room is in sync with the steps before and after in the process.
So it really is like being an orchestra conductor,
Yeah,
making sure each instrument plays at the right time to create this beautiful symphony of a shoe.
exactly. It's a very dynamic role with a lot of moving parts.
Now, what about the environment? Like, what can someone expect, like, walking onto that factory floor for the first time?
So imagine organized chaos, but in a good way,
Okay.
It can be pretty noisy. You've got machines humming, people are talking.
Hmm.
There might be some dust in the air, the smell of adhesives,
Hmm.
all part of the shoemaking process.
Yeah.
You'll be on your feet, moving around, sometimes lifting heavy things.
Yeah.
It's a very hands-on, active role, so.
Yeah. Definitely not a job for someone who wants to be stuck at a desk all day.
Right, exactly.
Speaking of, things that aren't a desk, before we get too far into this, I just want to touch on those RoleCatcher AI features
Sure.
because, I'm really curious how those can actually help someone prep for this kind of interview.
Yeah, so imagine you're practicing for a question about, say, handling a conflict on the factory floor.
Right.
You can record your answer using RoleCatcher,
Okay.
and then you get AI feedback, and it's specifically tailored to the Footwear Assembly Supervisor role.
So it's not just generic feedback, it's actually specific to what they might be looking for.
Exactly. It can analyze your word choice, tone of voice, if you record a video, even your body language. And then it gives you suggestions for improvement, and it really can help you sound more confident and knowledgeable.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It really is like having a personal interview coach who understands the ins and outs of the footwear industry.
It really is. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of preparing.
I love that. Okay, so let's get to those sample interview questions. We've kind of organized them by experience level, starting with those entry-level questions that might come up even if you're totally new to the world of footwear manufacturing.
Okay, sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, so question number 1. Can you describe your experience with footwear assembly? Now, what if you're like fresh out of college or, you're switching careers from something completely different?
Well, honesty is key. I mean, if you don't have direct experience in a factory setting, don't try to make something up, Presley.
Right.
Instead, focus on skills from your previous roles or even hobbies that you can, transfer over to this.
Oh, okay, so like transferable skills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So think about times you've had to follow really specific instructions
Mhm.
or work as part of a team to get something done, or even, if you're a DIY person who enjoys putting together furniture or fixing things around the house.
So even if you've never actually set foot in a lasting room, you can still draw on experiences that show you have the potential.
Right, exactly. Because a lot of the skills are transferable, even if the environment is new.
I love that. And I bet a specific example or two would really help to bring those skills to life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, I'm a team player, tell a story about a time you had to work with a group to achieve something.
Okay.
It could be anything, like organizing an event or leading a project. The key is to make it concrete and relevant to the job.
And I bet RoleCatcher could help you fine-tune those stories and make sure they are hitting all the right notes.
Yes, definitely. You can use the AI to analyze your responses and get feedback on how to make your stories even stronger.
Okay, so you're not just practicing in a vacuum. You're getting tailored feedback to make sure your stories resonate with the hiring manager.
Precisely.
Awesome. So what kind of follow-up question might an interviewer ask after you've talked about your experience?
They might dig a little deeper by asking, what aspects of footwear assembly do you find most interesting and why?
Okay.
This is a chance to really show that you've done your research and that you're genuinely interested in this field.
I see. So it's not just about what you've done. It's about showing that you're excited about what you could do in this role.
Exactly. Passion and enthusiasm go a long way in an interview.
Okay, good to know. All right, moving on to the next question, which is all about deadlines. How do you handle tight production deadlines? And this feels extra relevant in a fast-paced environment like footwear manufacturing. What are some key things to remember when answering this one?
Well, organization and time management are your best friends here. It's not just about creating to-do lists, though. The RoleCatcher Career Guide really emphasizes the importance of creating realistic production schedules, knowing how to delegate tasks.
Right, you can't do it all yourself. Yep.
Exactly, and you also need to understand your team's strengths so you can delegate effectively.
So it's about being a leader who can orchestrate the whole process, not just someone who gets bogged down in the details, right?
Exactly. You need to be able to see the big picture and make sure everything is moving forward smoothly.
And I imagine communication is key here too, right? Keeping everyone in the loop about progress, potential roadblocks, all of that.
Absolutely. Clear and consistent communication is essential. It prevents misunderstandings, keeps things on track, and helps everyone feel like they're part of the team.
Okay, makes sense. And how can RoleCatcher help someone practice for this kind of question?
So RoleCatcher lets you tailor your practice to specific job roles.
Okay.
So you can practice this question like you're actually talking to a footwear assembly supervisor hiring manager, and the AI will analyze your response and tell you if you're effectively communicating your ability to handle pressure, manage a team, all those things.
So you're practicing in a way that's super relevant to the job you're applying for.
Exactly. It's like having a customized practice session.
I love it. What kind of follow-up question might they ask to really test your ability to, handle that pressure?
One they often use is, can you describe a time you had to adjust a plan because of something unexpected?
Oh, yeah.
This is your chance to showcase how you adapt, how you solve problems, how you keep things moving forward when things get tough.
Okay, so basically have a good hero story ready to go.
Exactly. Have a few stories that demonstrate your ability to handle pressure and come out on top.
Got it. Now let's move on to a question that really focuses on a core part of leadership. Can you describe your experience with training and onboarding new team members? What's the best way to approach this one, especially if you haven't actually led formal training sessions in a corporate setting before?
All right, welcome back to our deep dive into acing that Footwear Assembly Supervisor interview. In part one, we tackled those early stage questions. We got some insights from the RoleCatcher Career Guide.
Yes.
And, we even talked about how those AI features in RoleCatcher can really give you a personalized edge in your prep.
Right. Like having your own personal coach in your pocket.
Exactly. So, we covered handling those tight deadlines, training new team members, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's all about those transferable skills.
Right. Now we're going to step it up a notch. We're going to get into those mid-level scenarios where you really have to show off your leadership skills.
Oh, okay. I'm ready. Bring it on.
All right. So imagine this. You're in the middle of a busy shift, and two of your team members are having a conflict.
Oh.
The interviewer wants to know how you would handle that, so they ask, how have you handled conflicts or challenges within a team?
The classic team clash.
Yeah, it's bound to happen, right? What's the best way to approach this question, especially if you haven't had, tons of formal supervisory experience?
Even if you haven't officially been a supervisor, you've probably dealt with conflict in some form, in group projects, team sports, even with family.
Yeah,
right?
The key is to show that you can stay calm, you can listen to both sides, and find solutions that work for everyone.
So it's not about picking sides. It's about being the mediator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the RoleCatcher Career Guide, they suggest using the STAR method to structure your answer.
Okay. Remind me what that stands for again.
So it's situation, task, action, and result.
Right.
You start by describing the situation where the conflict happened. then what you needed to accomplish, what actions you took to resolve it, and then the positive outcome that happened because of your actions.
Okay, that framework is helpful. So like maybe two of your classmates were butting heads on a group project and you stepped in to facilitate a discussion, help them find some common ground, and ultimately, they work together really well.
Exactly. You can definitely use examples from outside of work to illustrate those skills.
Okay. And of course, we know RoleCatcher's AI could help me analyze those stories and make sure I'm telling them in a compelling way, right?
Exactly. Practice those stories and get feedback to make sure you're articulating the situation, the actions you took, and the positive outcome.
Right.
It can help you identify areas where you could add more detail or make it even more engaging for the interviewer.
So I can make sure my story really packs a punch and showcases those conflict resolution skills.
Yes, exactly.
What about follow-up questions? What might they ask after they've heard my conflict resolution story?
They might ask you, what did you learn from that experience, that you can apply to future conflicts? This shows that you're not just good at handling tough situations, but that you're also, you're reflective. You're always looking for ways to improve.
Always learning, growing, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, love that. What's next on our mid-level challenge list?
All right, let's switch gears and talk about motivation. The next question focuses on inspiring your team. How do you motivate and develop your team members?
Ooh, the art of leadership. This feels like it goes beyond just giving orders.
It definitely does. The career guide talks about how people are individuals, with different motivations. A one-size-fits-all approach to motivation just won't work.
Okay, so it's about figuring out what makes each person tick, what drives them.
Exactly. Some folks are motivated by recognition. Others want to learn new things, take on new challenges. Some people thrive on public praise. Others need that quiet encouragement.
Yeah, totally different styles.
It's your job to figure out what those individual needs are and tailor your approach, to each person.
That sounds like a lot of observing, listening, maybe even a bit of intuition.
It does. It takes a certain sensitivity to understand what makes people tick.
Are there any specific techniques the career guide recommends?
Well, they talk about setting clear goals, those that are achievable, providing regular feedback, and offering opportunities for training and mentoring.
I imagine creating a positive work environment is also huge, right?
Huge. Culture is so important. When people feel respected, valued, and empowered, they're going to be much more engaged and motivated.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And of course, RoleCatcher can help me get feedback on how I'm explaining my approach to motivation.
Absolutely. Practice those answers, and the AI will give you feedback on whether you're conveying an understanding of those different motivational styles, if you're showing you can create a positive environment.
So I can make sure I'm coming across as a motivating and inspiring leader, not just a boss.
Right. You want to show that you can create a team that's excited to come to work and do their best.
Exactly. Okay, so what kind of follow-up question might they ask about motivating a team?
They might throw you a curveball, like, how would you motivate a team member who seems disengaged?
Ooh, okay.
This one really tests your ability to diagnose those problems and come up with creative solutions. For individuals who maybe need a little extra attention or a different approach.
Okay, that's a really good one. I'm going to have to think about that. It's not just about the whole team. It's about each individual person and what motivates them. Okay, what's next on our list?
Let's talk about making tough calls. The next question asks you to think back to a time you had to make a difficult decision as a supervisor.
Ooh, okay. This gets to the heart of leadership.
Right.
Sometimes you have to make unpopular decisions.
Exactly. It's not always about being liked. It's about doing what's right for the company, for the team, even if it's tough.
Right. So what should I keep in mind when answering this question?
Remember, they're not looking for a perfect track record. They want to see your process, how you gather information, how you weigh options, and ultimately how you reach a decision, even when there's no easy answer.
So it's okay to talk about a tough decision even if it wasn't a perfect outcome.
Exactly. Everyone makes mistakes. What's important is showing that you can think through the problem, that you can make a decision, and that you can learn from it.
Okay, so maybe a good example would be having to choose between two equally qualified candidates for a promotion.
That's a good one. Or, maybe you had to decide whether to delay a shipment to ensure quality, even if it meant missing a deadline.
Right, those tough calls.
Yeah, walk them through your thinking, the factors you considered, what you weighed, and how you got to your decision.
And if you made a mistake, just own it.
Exactly. Talk about what you learned and how you'd approach it differently next time.
Show self-awareness, growth mindset, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
What about RoleCatcher? Can it help me practice this kind of question too?
Definitely. Practice telling your story. Get feedback on how you're presenting your process, the rationale behind your choices. It can help you add details, adjust your tone so you sound confident, decisive.
Okay, so I can make sure my story is like polished and really showcases my leadership skills in action.
Right. Make it a story they won't forget.
All right, I'm taking notes. What might they ask
Right.
as a follow-up to that tough decision question?
A classic one is, looking back, is there anything you would have done differently?
Oh, okay.
It shows you're reflective, always looking to improve your decision-making, and it gives you a chance to highlight what you learned, how you've grown.
Love it. Okay, what else is on our mid-level list?
Let's talk budgets. The next question is, how do you ensure those production targets are met within budget?
Ah, the classic balancing act, right? Getting the job done while keeping an eye on the bottom line.
Exactly. You have to be efficient and cost-conscious.
So what are some key things I should highlight when answering this question?
The RoleCatcher Career Guide really stresses the connection between planning, monitoring, and adjusting. It's not just about making a budget and hoping for the best.
Right.
You have to manage your resources, track progress, and be prepared to change course if needed.
So it's like being a strategic thinker, always looking ahead and being ready to adapt.
Exactly. You need to show you can anticipate those challenges and adjust accordingly.
What about strategies for managing costs? Any specific tips from the career guide?
It highlights identifying areas for savings, negotiating with suppliers, looking for ways to streamline those processes without sacrificing quality.
So it's a mix of creativity, attention to detail, and being a savvy negotiator. Yeah.
It is. You need a multifaceted approach to manage budgets effectively in this role.
Okay, multifaceted, I like it. Can RoleCatcher help me practice for this kind of question too?
Of course. Use it to tailor your responses, get feedback on how you're explaining your approach to planning, budgeting, and managing resources. The AI will give you feedback on whether you sound knowledgeable and confident.
It's like having a financial advisor right there in my pocket.
Exactly. It can help you refine those answers and sound like a budget pro.
Okay, budget pro, I can do that.
Yeah.
What kind of follow-up question might they ask to really test my budget management skills?
They might throw a scenario at you like, what would you do if unexpected costs threaten the budget?
Oh, okay.
This is really testing you. They want to see you think on your feet, see how you problem solve.
Yeah, when the pressure is on to...
Exactly. You have to show you can make tough decisions under pressure, adjust, and still succeed.
Okay, that's a good challenge. It's not just about staying within budget. It's about knowing how to handle those unexpected curveballs, right? So what's next on our list? Are we ready to tackle those senior level questions? Okay, so we're back for the final round of our Footwear Assembly Supervisor interview prep.
That's right.
We've already covered so much ground, from those entry-level questions to those more challenging mid-level scenarios.
We've talked about handling conflicts, motivating teams, making those tough decisions.
Yeah, and managing budgets.
Exactly. All those essential leadership skills.
And now we're going to level up to those senior-level questions that really require, a deeper understanding of the industry.
Right. And a vision for its future.
Ooh, okay. I'm ready to step into my senior-level shoes. What's first on our list?
Okay, so picture this. The interviewer leans back and asks, how do you ensure quality control in footwear assembly? Now, this isn't just about knowing the steps, It's about showing you have a deep understanding of the product, the process, your commitment to excellence, all of that.
Right, so it's like being obsessed with quality from the moment those raw materials come in to the final inspection.
Exactly. You're thinking about it every step of the way.
So let's zoom in on that lasting room.
Yeah.
What are some specific things that I should be looking for to really make sure those shoes are top-notch?
So think about the lasting room that's the heart of the assembly process.
Right.
You're going to be inspecting raw materials like leather, textiles, making sure they meet those standards, right?
Yeah.
And then throughout the whole lasting process, you're checking for proper alignment, adhesion, overall craftsmanship.
Like how smooth the upper is, how neat the stitching is.
Exactly. You're looking at every little detail. How strong is that bond between the sole and the upper?
You're not just looking for a finished shoe. You're looking at every little piece that makes up that shoe.
Right. Quality control is all about the details.
Okay, and what kind of knowledge, specific knowledge, would really impress an interviewer?
Knowing those potential defects, that's crucial.
Oh, okay.
Wrinkles in the upper, maybe the heels aren't even, gaps in the adhesive. being able to talk about those common issues
Right.
and how to prevent them, that shows you're an expert.
So I need to know what to look for and how to fix it before it becomes a problem.
Exactly. You're proactive, you're preventing issues before they even arise.
I like it. And of course, RoleCatcher can help me practice explaining all these technical details, right? Making sure I sound clear and confident.
Absolutely. Use RoleCatcher to practice talking about quality control specifically as a footwear assembly supervisor.
Okay.
The AI can analyze your responses, make sure you're using the right terminology, that you're communicating your expertise in a way that they'll understand.
So it's like having a quality control expert right there in my pocket.
Exactly. It's like a secret weapon for your interview.
I love it. Okay, so what kind of follow-up question might they ask about quality control?
They might ask, what are some of the biggest challenges in maintaining quality control in this industry, and how would you address them?
Okay.
So this is going beyond just knowing the problems, right? You're showing them you can solve those problems.
Like a problem-solving pro.
Exactly. So, you could talk about the challenge of keeping up with those fast-paced production demands while still maintaining those super high standards.
Right. It's like speed versus perfection.
Exactly. Or, maybe the challenge of training and motivating your team to make quality their top priority.
Yeah, getting everyone on the same page.
Exactly. And then you could discuss solutions, right?
Sure.
Robust training programs, maybe using technology to streamline inspections, creating a culture where everybody's responsible for quality.
Right. So quality is woven into the DNA of the team.
Exactly. It's not just one person's job. It's everyone's responsibility.
And it sounds like the supervisor is the one who really sets that tone and empowers the team to make that happen.
Exactly. You set the standard, you lead by example, and you create that culture of quality.
Okay, so moving on. What's next on our senior level list?
All right, let's talk safety. Any interviewer worth their salt is going to want to know about your commitment to creating a safe work environment.
Of course, yeah, safety is paramount.
Exactly. And they might ask you something like, how do you ensure safety protocols are followed in footwear assembly?
Okay.
So it's not just about checking boxes, it's about creating that culture where everyone feels responsible.
Right, for their own safety and the safety of their teammates.
Exactly. And think about those potential hazards, right? In a footwear assembly environment, you've got machinery, sharp tools, chemicals. Sometimes even those floors can be slippery. So you got to show them, the protocols. You can enforce them.
Yeah.
And you're committed to making that culture of safety.
Okay, so I could talk about things like providing regular safety training.
Yes.
Making sure there are signs and instructions everywhere. And maybe even a system for reporting potential hazards.
Those are all great examples. And you can also talk about leading by example, right?
Yeah, like walk the walk.
Exactly. You follow those protocols yourself. You're approachable, so people feel comfortable coming to you if they have concerns.
Right. So it's like being strict about safety, but also approachable.
Exactly. You want to create an environment where people feel safe to speak up if something isn't right.
Yeah, okay. And I bet RoleCatcher could help me practice, really clearly articulating my commitment to safety.
For sure. Practice answering that question like you're talking to a hiring manager who's super focused on safety.
Okay.
The AI can give you feedback on, are you coming across serious enough?
Right.
Are you demonstrating that you really understand those protocols?
So it's like having a safety consultant in my pocket.
Exactly. It's all about being prepared and coming across as knowledgeable and confident.
I love it. What kind of follow-up question might they ask about safety?
They might get specific and ask, what would you do if you saw a team member breaking those safety rules over and over again? They want to see how you handle those tough situations, how you enforce the rules.
Yeah, but still maintain a positive and respectful environment.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance. You have to be firm, but also fair.
Yeah, sometimes people just need a reminder.
Right. Sometimes people forget they need a gentle nudge.
Okay, so what else is on our senior level list?
All right, let's zoom out and look at the big picture, the interviewer might ask. How do you see the role of a footwear assembly supervisor evolving over the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
Ooh, future thinking. Okay, so this is about showing that I'm not just stuck in the present.
Right.
But I'm thinking about the future of the industry.
Exactly. The footwear industry is always changing, new technology, new consumer demands. The landscape is constantly shifting.
And they want to know, I'm aware of all that.
They want to see you're thinking ahead, that you're adaptable.
So I could talk about how, automation might change the way shoes are made.
Yes. Great
Maybe
example.
supervisors will need to manage robots and people.
Exactly. Or you could talk about how the demand for sustainable footwear
Yeah.
that's changing those manufacturing processes.
Right, because consumers are way more conscious of where their products come from these days.
Absolutely. And, the rise of customization and personalization, that might require supervisors to be even more adaptable.
Yeah, because there might be way more variations of styles and designs.
Exactly. You have to be ready to handle it all.
It sounds like the ideal candidate is someone who's part manager, part visionary, right?
Yeah.
They can anticipate those changes and lead their team through whatever the future holds.
Exactly. You have to be forward thinking. You have to be able to adapt.
Okay, so what kind of follow-up question might they ask to really probe my vision for the future?
They might ask you, what are some innovative ideas you have to improve efficiency or quality in footwear assembly? So this is your chance to be creative, to show off your problem-solving skills.
Right, and my passion for the industry.
Exactly. So, maybe you suggest incorporating new technologies, like to streamline the lasting process or a system to track quality data in real time so you can address problems faster.
Ooh, okay, that's a good one.
Yeah. Or maybe you have an idea for a whole new type of adhesive, something faster, more eco-friendly.
Right, thinking outside the box.
Exactly. You want to show them that you're not just content with how things are, that you're always looking to improve and innovate.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired. What's next?
Let's talk about staying ahead of the curve. The interviewer might ask, how do you stay up to date with the latest trends and technologies in the footwear industry?
This is where my inner lifelong learner comes in.
Yes. You got to show them you're committed to learning, growing.
Not just for myself, but for my team too.
Exactly. You're leading by example. So think about those resources you use to stay informed. Industry publications, online forums, conferences. Maybe you're following some thought leaders on social media?
Right. Being active in those online communities dedicated to footwear innovation.
Exactly. You want to be that knowledge sponge, constantly absorbing new information, finding ways to apply it.
I love it. And of course, RoleCatcher can help me practice explaining my approach to staying up to date.
Of course. Use it to practice and get feedback. Does it sound like you're a lifelong learner, passionate about staying ahead of the curve?
Oh.
The AI can even suggest additional resources or, learning opportunities
Oh, cool.
based on your responses. That way, you can tailor those answers to whatever the interviewer might be interested in.
So it's like a personalized professional development plan built right into my interview prep.
Exactly. It's all about taking your preparation to the next level.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, what kind of follow-up question might they ask about professional development?
They might get specific and say, tell me about a trend or technology you're really excited about and how it could change footwear assembly.
So I need to have some specific examples ready.
Exactly. You need to show that you're not just keeping up, but you're also thinking critically about how those trends will impact the industry.
Okay, so I could talk about 3D printing and how that might revolutionize shoe design.
Yes.
Or maybe the use of AI
Great example.
to optimize the whole production process.
It's all about showing that you're engaged, you're thinking about the future, and you're ready to be a part of it.
Okay, the future footwear, I'm ready. What's the last question on our senior level list?
All right, let's finish with a question that tests your ability to be a trainer, a leader, all those things. Imagine, they ask you, imagine you're designing a training program for footwear assembly operators. How would you approach it?
Oh, okay, this one feels like it combines so many skills.
It does. They want to see if you can take this complex task, break it down, create a learning experience that's both effective and engaging.
So where do I even start?
Well, you got to do a deep dive into the role itself, right?
Okay.
Figure out those specific skills and knowledge they need to be successful.
Right, so I need to really understand the job inside and out.
Exactly. Talk to those experienced operators, review the manuals, observe the assembly process.
Maybe even shadow someone for a day.
Exactly. Get down in the trenches and really understand what it takes to do the job well.
Okay, I'm taking notes. So once I have that understanding, what's next?
Then it's time to design the training program. Right. Make it comprehensive, but also engaging.
Uh-huh.
Think about classroom instruction, hands-on demos, maybe even some simulations.
Oh, yeah, like role-playing scenarios.
Exactly. You want to make it interactive and fun.
Yeah.
Maybe even incorporate some friendly competition or gamification.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
To keep people motivated and excited about learning.
Exactly. And don't forget assessment. You got to make sure they're actually learning.
Right.
So maybe quizzes, practical exams, feedback from supervisors on the line.
It's like making sure they're not just memorizing the information, but they can actually apply it in the real world.
Exactly. You want to make sure your training is effective and those new operators are set up for success.
And I feel like this is another area where RoleCatcher could come in handy, right?
Absolutely. Practice explaining your training program. Get feedback on, are you organized, knowledgeable? Are you engaging?
Okay.
The AI can analyze your approach and give you suggestions based on best practices in training.
So it's like having an instructional designer on my team.
It is. It's all about maximizing your preparation and making sure you're presenting your best self.
What kind of follow-up question might they ask about my, amazing training program?
They might ask, how would you make sure your training stays relevant and up to date as the footwear industry evolves? They want to see that long-term thinking, that commitment to continuous improvement.
So I need to be ready to talk about how I'd incorporate new technologies, trends, feedback from those operators to keep the training fresh.
Exactly. You're not just creating a one-time program.
Right.
You're creating a system for learning and development.
That grows and changes along with the industry.
Exactly. You're demonstrating that you're in it for the long haul.
I think we've covered a ton of ground here.
We have.
From those basic entry-level questions to those really, complex, big-picture, senior-level scenarios.
We've given you the tools to handle whatever they throw at you.
I'm feeling way more confident and prepared now.
That's what we like to hear.
And RoleCatcher has officially become my new interview prep BFF.
It's a fantastic resource. Use it, practice. You're going to be amazed at how much it helps.
Okay, so any final words of wisdom for our listeners before we wrap up?
Believe in yourself. You have the skills, the experience, and the passion to rock this role.
Yeah.
So go out there, put your best foot forward, and show them what you're made of.
Yes. And remember, the world needs more amazing shoes.
It does.
Good luck with your interview. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.